Today, let's talk about George, the superstar of the product creative department. Every day, he dives into all sorts of toys at the company, suggesting improvements with his own office and a personal tea-fetching assistant. What a cushy job. Billy couldn't help but envy George's high life. George was living his best life, while the creative president was fuming. To make George look bad, the creative president was in his element, talking a mile a minute at the conference. With flashy data, he showcased the new product's advantages, while George played with a toy, distracted. To his utter surprise, George posed everyone's killer question by revealing that he was utterly clueless about those business jargon. George just wanted to make a sincere suggestion, but he thought transforming buildings was so yesterday. Instead of turning skyscrapers into toys, why not look at insects or prehistoric animals? Buildings are just so lifeless. Insects are alive. They can inspire countless new products and become the new favorites for kids. George's suggestion sparked excitement in the room, and the boss immediately decided to bring his idea to life. George's innocence was like a miracle in the business world. He only cared about customer needs, completely unaware he had ruffled some feathers. The president saw George as a disruptor and asked manager Susan to investigate his background, only to find he was like a ghost, a real mystery. Little did they know, the milk and lost pet flyers were all for George. Once launched, this toy was the talk of the town. The company made a fortune. George's paycheck soared, moving into a massive apartment from the old motel. He turned his apartment into a mini amusement park and even took Ratio to enjoy their favorite baseball game. He wrote to Mom to reassure her, saying he'd been living like it was boot camp, so don't worry about him. The company's celebration saw raises requested, ladies chased, lively yet absurd. Everyone wore black suits hoping to gain some favor, while George strutted in a white bum, looking like the odd one out. They all laughed at him, but the boss walked up to him, praising his outfit as stunning. Everyone began betting that George would definitely get a raise. The party was full of chatter. George became the center of attention. That uniquely standing man always attracted eyes. Susan was curious about George, and she approached him, partially for her promotion goals. They hopped in a company car, Susan sharing her adult troubles, while George was just fascinated by the vehicle. The car passed George's apartment, and Susan asked if they could pop in, seeming eager to develop some connections. George's home shocked Susan. There wasn't a single decent piece of furniture. It looked entirely casual. George invited her to jump on the trampoline. She hesitated at first, but under his naivety, she tossed aside her ladylike persona and had a blast. It might just be the simplest joy she had felt since adulthood. That night, they felt like kids again. Susan lay down, full of anticipation. She flirted, but George chuckled innocently. Susan suddenly grasped Bo's meaning. She consoled herself, thinking he must be the legendary good man. George gifted her a glow-in-the-dark ring to guide her through the dark. Over the years, George shuffled among executives, neglecting his own needs for work. Susan had never felt such tenderness. It was as if she recovered something long lost after that night. This made the president, who liked him, quite perplexed. Susan indeed wanted to show George the ropes. So the president invited him to play that day, but soon the rules were twisted, and George was in hot water. What seemed like a fight for the ball was really an outlet for pent-up frustration. In the end, the two were rolling on the floor, and everyone was dumbfounded. But behind this match lay George's confusion about human nature. He couldn't understand the president's treatment, but Susan knew it's a dog-eat-dog world at work. In George's eyes, the world appeared blissfully unaware, like a place of pure innocence, whereas Susan, with her keen perception, discovered and knew a long-lost purity in his sincerity. A kiss can win any adult, especially George. After that, Susan couldn't hold back and chewed out the president. To her surprise, the president yelled out his conspiracy, leaving everyone flabbergasted. Because of this incident, George was thrilled all afternoon, and the buds of his youth were starting to blossom. That night, he saw the boss still working around the corner, but this room couldn't contain all his wild ideas. The boss aimed for toys loved by all kids, but research showed kids under 12 wanted toys, over 13 girls. This made George realize a pivotal moment in life. Turning 13 is a milestone, and he would be 13 tomorrow. It'd be his first time away from his parents for his birthday, and he specially invited Billy over. His friendship is proven by we only play with each other. And now, George knocked on Susan's door. The two on the sofa looked down, their faces slightly flushing. Though they had a lot to say, it turned into an awkward blush. In the silence, subtle feelings grew quietly. To ease the awkwardness, they headed to the amusement park. They screamed together on the roller coaster, rode the Ferris wheel, and danced among the beautiful music. That night, they confirmed their romantic relationship, and George, the corporate prodigy, met Susan's family.